Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our look at some of the recent Jurassic World toys with Jurassic World Rebirth Spinosaurus Danger Set from Mattel. If you saw my recent video, you know that recently looked at two of the smaller story packs with Loomis and Bennett with their Raptor and Pterodactyl. This is one of the bigger story sets with another version of Loomis and Bennett and a Spinosaurus figure. It's interesting that we got Loomis and Bennett again. I think it would have been nicer to have perhaps had a couple of different figures in the set, but the fact that we've got two sets so close together featuring a female character is always a plus in my book, so it's good to see another version of Bennett. The packaging is that standard Rebirth packaging we're seeing with the others, with the red and black metallic stripes and metalwork throughout, the Spino down in the corner, the Rebirth logo, the island in the background there, Spinosaurus Danger Set. It's interesting, the Spinosaurus is sort of the promo dinosaur for this line. Without spoilers for the film, I don't think the Spinosaurus featured quite as much as the trailers have led us to believe it would. But that's just a personal opinion on my account. We get the window box packaging showing us the Spino and our figures and accessories within. The top is just that red and Rebirth logo. Side is the Rebirth logo, as is this one. Underneath we've got our barcode, legal and brief instructions on assembling our dino. On the back we get a product shot. It's just a generic figures on a grey background. It's nothing as fancy as what's been done for the Jurassic Park figures, which I also recently took a look at, which is a shame. I think even if it was just, a CGI AI backdrop, I think it would have added a little more to it than just the grey figures standing around. But it is what it is. We also get a quick content summary at the bottom, along with some more legal stuff and a look at the accessories we get. So there we have it. Without further ado, we might as well get this box opened and take a look at the contents within. Pulling this open. The boxes are just glued down rather than taped with. Get rid of that. Instantly within we get a insert of the island in the film with that sort of sun-setting look. The tail is tucked underneath with cable ties. I think I'll probably just pull this one out. Just pull that Spino tail out and put that to one side for now. The rest of our figures are taped down with cable ties, so I just need to bring it in, something to release our figures. I think that's it. Some more. Yes. There we go. So the figures have those sort of plastic band cable ties rather than the plastic ones, but they are easy to pop out. Let's get rid of that rubber. Loomis and rifle, and then we also get a tool crate. I'll just clear away all these. Oh, that's the knife, don't want to lose that. Okay, so here we have our figures and accessories. It's a quick assembly for the dino. If it's like the T-Rex, it's going to be a one-time assembly of just pushing this into the back of our dinosaur. Like so. You can hear a nice solid click there, and once that's in, it is in. Let's get our legs done, and then we can get Spino situated. Okay, so let's take a look at our figures and the accessories first. So we get a black small little rubber knife. It doesn't appear that there is a way for our figures to store the weapon. No, there doesn't appear to be any weapon storage. However, this crate will open, so if you want, you can store it in there. The crate is just a single yellow molded plastic, or a bit of green paint scuff on the bottom, but it's not too much of a worry. There's some nice molded detail without, and I think within, sorry, and I think some customizers could do some fun things with this. And for a kid's accessory, it's plain and simple enough. Additionally, the weapon will fit in there. It comes apart in two pieces and will just slide into the case. This is it's the same weapon that came with the Zoe Bennett. However, this one pops apart where Zoe's doesn't, and there is this yellow paint stripe, so there's a little bit more paint app on this one, which is a nice addition. Okay, so Loomis, that's Loomis there. I can't say it's particularly great likeness. In fact, I think if we bring in our other figure, I feel this is a better likeness. You can see there's a slight difference in the moulding for the faces. This one has more of a beard than this one. So you can see that. And in fact, these are completely different figures. Or at least the hands are. The hands have different moulding throughout. I think the bodies are the same. The bodies are the same, just different paint apps. And it appears the legs and feet are the same as well, just different paint apps. So it's interesting that they gave them additional different arms, or at the very least different molded hands. I'm wondering, I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like the trigger finger. So the figure is weird in the sense that it still has the trigger fingers, but they're molded a little closer and attached to the rest of the hand. So I don't know if they are the exact same mold. They just haven't cut and released the trigger fingers on the two figures. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but I think these are supposed to be the exact same mold, and I think maybe it's just the paint apps on the face which are making it look different. But this one almost looks a little rounder than this one. But I can't see Mattel doing a whole different head sculpt just for one kid's figure. So I think it is the same one, and I think the different plastic paint apps are what make it look different, but I might be wrong there. But otherwise, this is the same figure that we saw in that smaller story pack. So this will have the same articulation as we've previously seen, with the head, swivel, arm, swivel and rotation, tight joints, bend at the elbow and swivel, swivel at the waist, legs will come forward, won't go back, knee, bend and swivel. As for Zoe Bennett, this is again this is right. So she has a bandolier which can come off by the looks of things. So we've got a small little flare gun which she can be removed from her hand, and then just bringing in the Zoe from the other story pack. Again, this is the same mold, they've just made a few additions. So the 2-pack figure had the chest pack pouches, which are not molded onto this figure, so that has been removed, and the head sculpts are the same, it's just different paint apps, and a cap has been glued to the head of this one. You can tell it's literally just been plopped on the head of this one and glued in place, and then given a slightly different paint app. Oh no, the ponytail is also different on this figure. You can see that it's a longer ponytail. It looks like it's the same mold as that, it's just been sized up. Otherwise, it is the same figure with the same articulation as before. Bit like the Loomis, the trigger fingers are slightly different on these molds. So it's a little bit of weird choices to give slightly different molds for the figure. I'm not quite sure why Mattel decided to do that. Not that I'm necessarily complaining. I think changes and differences are definitely a plus, but it seems odd that the fingers are essentially the main difference on the figures. Otherwise, same as Loomis: swivel, rotation, bend, swivel, bends, bends, and swivels. So there we have our 2 human characters, and the accessories. They should be able to get a grip on the accessories. Let's assemble the gun, and we'll give the tranq rifle to Zoe. If she will hold it. She should be able to hold it. I'm just struggling to get a grip on the hand. There we go. So annoyingly, the tranq gun is a little too big for Zoe's hands, and the fact that it disassembles isn't helping things either. But there you go, you can sort of get her holding it with some faffing about. And she will stand on her own, and then if we want, Loomis can get a hold of the knife, and he can have the flare gun. There we go. So I'm thinking this story pack is supposed to come from a certain point in the film, which is fairly early on and has been featured quite heavily in the trailers. But strangely, if that's the case, it seems odd that the Spinosaurus was that they included the Spinosaurus and then Zoe and Loomis. I feel if you're having Zoe and Loomis and it's a story pack from a certain scene in the film, then we should have had a different dino. But equally, I feel if you're getting the Spino, and I definitely think the Spino was the good choice to have with this, given the heavy promotion of this character or this dino in the film, then perhaps someone different than Loomis would have been a nice choice to have seen. But that's just a personal opinion on my part, and I don't think kids are going to be bothered that much either way, because if they're getting a dino and they're getting two figures, which is fantastic. As for Spino himself, it's a simple, very lightweight molded figure. It feels quite hollow. I feel like with enough pressure I could crack the plastic along here. Don't get me wrong, you're going to really have to force it and bash around, and I don't think kids just bringing in and fighting a couple of dinos are going to break it, but I'm just pointing out that it does feel quite hollow, to the point that enough pressure could probably snap it without too much trouble. Paint apps, it's given this nice tiger stripe effect which fades into the body. I really, really like the look of the paints on this Spino, especially these tiger stripes and the way it's faded in, as I said. Otherwise, it's mostly just done in a greyish brown plastic. There is some more fading underneath the body here in the lighter colours. Would have been nice if we could have seen that go along the entire underside. And it seems strange that it's sort of just given a small paint app here rather than gone all the way along the body. The foot of the dino has one of those QR codes for the app and its play features. The claws aren't painted, which is a bit of disappointing. I would have liked to have seen those painted, but again, it's a kid's toy. It's done cheaply. You're not expecting massive levels of detail. As for articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so we get some real nice range of movement there. There's nothing else at sort of the base of the skull. It's all in the neck. Jaw will open here and here, so we get some nice, so you can get a full range of roars. The teeth are really gummy plastic. As you can see, I can just bend and move those around without any trouble, which means they're not going to snap under kids playing with them, which is probably a nice addition. You can see we get the flesh tones throughout for the mouth. The arms are just on a swivel. Legs don't move out like they did on the T-Rex. They just move back and forth, and there is that ankle swivel there. Also, the tail is on a ball joint, so you can get some movement there and get that moving. Size wise, let's just move the two figures out of the way for a moment. Size wise, he is, bring it from tail to snout, he is about 16 and a bit inches long, and height wise he's just about 8 inches, so it's a big figure. I don't think it necessarily has the play features or anything else that the individual releases are offering, but that's understandable. This is supposed to be a play pack. We get two figures and we get a dino, so I think for the price point, which is about £30, it's quite a reasonable offering. The figures are certainly reasonable enough. Likeness wise, they're not great, but I do feel that you kind of instantly know who the characters are supposed to be. Comparing him with the 30th anniversary T-Rex, you can see the T-Rex looms over him. And in fact is the bigger figure, which is a bit of a disappointment because Spinos are supposed to be bigger than the T-Rexes, so it would have perhaps been nice to have seen this as a slightly larger figure. But again, it fits within the style of the play pack. It's a kid's toy, and given the dinos we see in the films and their interactions, it's not a issue as, say, if this was a representation of the Jurassic Park 3 figures. Otherwise, it is a nice set. It's definitely a really fun kids toy. I think kids are going to have a lot of fun with it. It has some nice play features and accessories. You get 2 figures and a dino, which is always a plus. The dino is nicely molded, painted, and has some nice articulation to it. So it's certainly a plus to have. Otherwise, there's not really a lot else to it. As I said, from the story pack perspective, the choice of characters and dino seems like a bit of an odd one, and given this has been released at the exact same time as the 2 smaller packs, I would have perhaps preferred seeing a couple of other characters in this set, although I am never ever going to complain about having sets with female figures in them. Perhaps if I was Mattel, I know there's 2 other 2-pack releases coming later in the year. I maybe would have swapped the Loomis for another one of those ones, just to give the option to kids to go out and pick up some different characters from the films to play with. But equally, a lot of this stuff is toys and things that kids will be asking for birthdays and Christmas, and I think by the end of the year there's going to be a wide range of Jurassic Park stuff on the shelves for kids to ask for. That's basically all I have to say for this set. I like it. I'm glad I picked it up. If you're a kid, you're probably going to have some fun playing with this. The Spino is a nice addition. If you're a collector, then the Spino is not bad. I think the Spino, despite the hollow plastic and everything else, it's not a bad figure. And if you're looking for something to just sit on the shelf, this is a good option. I've seen the ones at retail and they look nice, but I'm not necessarily interested in play features or sounds or anything like that. So that's the trade-off between buying it as a gift set and buying it as an individual dino. So the choice on what you want, it ends up being yours, and choices are always a fantastic option. But there we have the Spinosaurus 3-pack. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time. Oh, excuse me. Stay safe, and remember, life finds a way.